stomach. Nothing. Start again. I'm sick to my stomach. Nothing. Start again. I'm sick to my stomach. Nothing.
Soccer? But it's really called football. Soccer? The creators called it football. Soccer? You know, you play it with your feet. Reading between the headlines. Soccer? But it's really called football. Soccer? Hello, football fans. Welcome back to Reading Between the Headlines. I'm Asaf Nisim, your host for this next episode of Peruse the News, the live show where we catch up on the latest Chelsea news together, maybe some world football, more broadly, maybe some Premier League football. But of course, as always, no matter what we're doing, we live football and prosper, as one should. Now, on the docket for today. First, from Football 365, Paul Gascoigne. I don't know if you know Paul Gascoigne. If you don't, some might say you're not a real football fan. No, but I wouldn't say that. But Paul Gascoigne, exclusive, England legend. the headline is England should build around Palmer. Why Carsley deserves a chance. Well, maybe that is a little out of date. Not too out of date. And maybe, people still feel that way. Following the appointment, of course, of Thomas Tuchel. Next, appropriately, from the Daily Mail's Ian Herbert, possibly today's initial hot take, or not, depending where you land on this. Being a Chelsea fan might automatically, sort of by default, make this a hot take. I don't necessarily agree with this, but forget the preamble, hiring Thomas Tuchel feels like a panicked lurch in the wrong direction. That is written by Ian Herbert. As England take a blind leap of faith on a man who may be more trouble than he's worth. Okay, that was a little long-winded, but I think you get my point. We will get to the article. Then we head over to one of my favorite sports writers at ESPN for a bit of, you could say, maybe a rebuttal, maybe a little bit more context. Gab Marcotti, where he details why Thomas Tuchel took the England manager's job. Okay, why? After that, an update on a somewhat jarring story about Nottingham Forest from the Daily Mail. Nottingham Forest insist it's a coincidence they're looking for a new social media manager just days after being hit with a £750,000 fine following stunning online attack on VAR official. Certainly was pretty stunning. I'm actually more shocked that I missed the initial story and what was said on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. In the past, we've seen managers and staff penalized for a lot less than what was said, but that's just a little preview. Next, Enzo Maresca sat down with Adam Talks on Stadium Astro during this international break. We're going to listen to that. We're going to react to what went down over there. Always nice to listen in on the manager and see what's up there, even when it's not a pre-match presser or a post-match presser. From We Ain't Got No History, Portugal manager Roberto Martinez praises Chelsea's Renato Veiga following his debut. That's an interesting one. In the same vein, the Chelsea Chronicle says about Veiga that national media think Enzo Maresca has absolutely saved the £12 million Chelsea player's career. So even though, he's not exactly a regular player in the Chelsea lineup, some national media are saying that, and it's interesting to follow Veiga's career path right now and what's going on. As a bonus, per usual, if we have any time, maybe we'll stalk some of our favorite Chelsea player Instagrams, current and alumni, before we close up shop. Now, before we continue, if you are new to the channel, or maybe you're just a lurker in the channel, why not like the stream? Here, let me even give you my little graphic. Like the stream, find that subscribe button, hit the subscribe button so you could find us, or me, in the future. Maybe hit the bell if you want to know when we go live. We have been going live a little bit occasionally, let's call it. Well, not occasionally, but sort of randomly, you could say. But yeah, why not do that? Why not connect to the channel, get in early while we're still tiny, we're still small, but oh so growing, always growing, always growing. I promise you, we're going to be huge before you know it, and you're going to be able to say, hey, I knew that guy. I knew that guy. Before all y'all knew that guy, I'm that cool subscriber. I'm that cool fan. Check me out, dog. I'm that guy. All right, or girl, whatever the case may be, or whatever furry you guys like to be referred to. But I have no qualms calling you whatever the heck you want to be called. So, yes, get that done. Make that subscription. Engage on that. Okay, let's start off this show, not with the docket, but with the last stream's poll results. I always like to I always like to tap you guys for some information, get the feel, see what everybody's thinking. And last stream, I asked y'all, who should be England's first choice keeper? Okay. And it seems it was probably a good poll to ask. And here, let me throw it up there. Bam! Who should be England's first choice keeper? A lot of you thought that it was Jordan Pickford, that Jordan Pickford should stay the first choice keeper. 67% of you said that. Dean Henderson took up the rest of the responses at 33%. Nick Pope, 0, big fat 0. And nobody said, fuck it, Fraser Forster, 0%. I kind of like the guy's attitude. He's kind of a character, you know. I don't know if you've ever seen Fraser Forster, but I just wanted to throw him in there. He's not even in the running, really. But I just thought, let's throw the big mother effer in that poll. But honestly, personally, I was sort of leaning Dean Henderson. And guess what? It just so happened that after the poll finished, Lee Carsley did drop Jordan Pickford. I don't know what, you know, it was pre-England match, and I just felt like I think Pickford had a bad game the time before. And for a while, it's been like people are sort of surprised that Pickford still gets the call. I mean, not totally surprised, but like, oh, he's still first choice. Who else is in the runnings? Well, it just so happens that, I mean, Dean Henderson got the start. So kudos to me for being onto something. Maybe I felt it was time. Maybe it was because of that early season draw Chelsea played against Crystal Palace. If you guys saw that, Henderson really went Super Saiyan, showed the best of himself. Now he's been good for a long time, very good, you might say, but he's really starting to emerge as probably the best England has to offer in terms of like a consistency, on a level of consistency. Maybe he doesn't have the sort of penalty saving acumen that Jordan Pickford has shown in the past, but maybe he does. Maybe just, you know, hasn't had a chance to show it off or whatever. He's still younger than Pickford, not as experienced as Pickford, obviously not as many caps as Pickford. Pickford has a good amount of caps at this point. But yeah, it seemed that in the last match against, you could see it over here. Ooh, let me just actually pull this results off for a second. Yeah, you can see here that Henderson, even Fotmob thought he was dang good in that match against us. It ended in a draw. We had, it wasn't our best showing going forward, but there were definitely moments where Nicholas Jackson could have scored and Dean Henderson came up big. Is it Nicholas Jackson failing? Is it perhaps Dean Henderson doing really freaking well? I don't know, but I think a lot of people might have thought that Dean Henderson was killing the game. Okay, so that was that. Just another look at those poll results. There they are. Boom, bang, boom. Right. Okay, so moving on from that poll result, why not throw out today's poll results? I'll leave those up actually for a second. Today's poll, now appropriate of today's show, the question is, should national teams stick to their own when hiring the manager? There's a lot of controversy about this going on today, so I figured let me throw that out there as a question. Now, obviously, there aren't too many answers for this, but the first will be yes, only homegrown managers or candidates, you could say. And then the second will be no, the best candidate, full stop. And the third, I'm going to throw a third option here because I think it is sort of maybe the way some people view it. Now, it's favor the candidate who is homegrown, but, oh, I've got to shorten that. Okay, let's go with that. Favor the candidate who's homegrown. Now, it's not always choose the homegrown or always choose the homegrown candidate, but if it's between a couple candidates, favor the homegrown candidate and engage. Okay, now you guys get into answering that question. Yeah, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we are moving on. I think it's time to get to the docket. Yes, it's time to get to the docket. I'm going to pull this down, my little notes here, and go for it. So right off the bat, let's get into Paul Gascoigne, or yes, and affectionately known as Gaza, to the England fans. If you're not, boy, really, I'm really showing my Americanness here, assuming people maybe don't know that. But here we go. Football 365. As I said earlier, the headline is Paul Gascoigne exclusive. England should build around Palmer. Why Carsley deserves a chance is the second part of this article. Now, obviously, as you can see, Thomas Tuchel was appointed, and this article is from a couple days ago. But I do like that people are starting to talk about Cole Palmer, not like Southgate felt about Palmer in the Euros. He's a super sub who can make a difference, or anything else. It doesn't. Obviously, Carsley is not seeing Palmer that way right now, is he? I mean, he's started, I think, all the games under Carsley that Palmer was available for, right? I think he was injured when Carsley was first appointed interim manager. I think it was a lower back issue. But yes, Cole Palmer, I don't know that it was... You vote the middle option, Gabe C. All right, so Gabe C made a mistake on his vote. He voted the middle option, which would be no, the best candidate, full stop. That's okay, brother. I will try and include that on the next stream. I'll try to adjust the poll results, but I hear you. It's important that you let us know, just so when when the national team comes asking, whether it be the U.S. men's national team or the English national team, I'll be able to let them know that Gabe C felt a certain way. So I don't want to skew the poll results. Thank you for participating, Gabe C. But yeah, so I like that finally somebody's saying it. Obviously it's been Palmer fever in England, but for some reason Southgate didn't seem to get that when he was managing the English national team throughout the Euros, which was annoying. Maybe it could have changed. Maybe it really could have changed England's fate in the 2024 Euros. I mean, to be fair, they got to the final, but maybe they would have done better if Palmer got more into his zone, if you will, and just ran that team. Here's Paul Gascoigne saying, I think Palmer needs to be the center, the core of this English national team, right? So Paul Gascoigne has exclusively told Football 365 that unbelievable Chelsea playmaker Cole Palmer is the number. You think build around? Gabe C says build around. That's a bit much for Cole Palmer. What, you don't think Cole Palmer's good enough to build the team around? I mean, you build the team around, sure, like Messi, right? Well, maybe not today's Messi. It seemed that Argentina won that Copa America, played sort of better when Messi came off the pitch. I'm not going to start that argument here, but I mean, Cole Palmer kind of is that guy for Chelsea, isn't it? I mean, but you know, maybe other people feel differently. Paul Gascoigne thinks that Cole Palmer is unbelievable and England should build the team around him. Palmer joined Chelsea from Manchester City for around £40 million in the 2023 summer transfer window. I believe it was a deadline day. Seemed like a panic buy because we weren't picking up too much. His form in 2023-24 unsurprisingly earned him a place in Gareth Southgate's England squad for this summer's European Championship. Surprisingly, though, he didn't really start. Yep, as he said, next thing, Palmer did not start a single match despite the clamor, but came off the bench to score in the final defeat against Spain. Gabe C says, Palmer is a beast, but England has plenty of talent, and to just build around one person, I'm not too sure about that. I think the idea is that, well, I mean, people might not even argue that Cole Palmer is the best player, but it's like when you build, what does build around a player mean, right? Build around a player means play to those players' strengths, build the team in such a way that you maximize the strengths of that player, because when that player is playing in a tactic, in a squad that in a team that is arranged tactically surrounding his talents to maximize his strengths, your team is going to perform the best, right? You're going to get the most out of that player, and that's going to be the most beneficial for the team. Other players might be, okay, this isn't the best position for that player, or might not be catering to this guy. He might not be the maestro in the midfield or whatever it may be, but he's still helping the team to like 80% of his let's say, I don't want to say ability, but okay, we'll say ability, right? So that's the way I would define build the team around him. England have lots of options in attack, and Palmer is a player capable of playing. Playing in behind the striker and on the right wing. Bukayo Saka is undroppable on the right. Is that true? Is Bukayo Saka undroppable? I'm not saying he's not good. He's great. But is he undroppable? I don't know. But there are doubts over who should play in behind Harry Kane. With Jude Bellingham, big one, gotta say. Jude Bellingham is exceptional. But he kind of played a little bit on the left wing, didn't he, in the Euros? Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, and Palmer all in contention. I think at this point, people will prefer Palmer over Jack Grealish and Foden. Bellingham, again, is another thing. But as I say, I believe that Jude kind of played on the left-hand side in the Euros, didn't he? That's what I remember him mostly coming in from the left, maybe with the freedom to be a little more central sometimes. But those are all the players that are in contention, while interim manager Lee Carsley has also called up Morgan, Gibbs, White, and Curtis Jones. Obviously, no sense in mentioning those in the same breath as Cole Palmer, especially after Curtis Jones acted against us. I don't even know where he's at now, but he was acting like a little prick. Oh, that's right. Isn't Curtis Jones, wasn't it him? Or was that Nico Williams? Not Curtis Jones. My bad. I get them confused because Curtis Jones and Nico Williams, I think, were both sort of upstarts in Liverpool, in the midfield for Liverpool, coming out of the academy, if I'm not mistaken. But I believe it was actually Nico Williams that tripped up Cucurella, and then Cucurella went slamming into Maresca in that match. I don't even remember which match it was, but it was one of them. Okay, so we had the opportunity to ask former England international Paul Gascoigne who England should build around and if Palmer is the best number 10 for the Lions, for the Three Lions. He exclusively told F365, yeah, God, I didn't realize how good he was. It's only the last couple of games I've watched him on Match of the Day. He's been unbelievable. He's hungry. He scored 4 against Brighton. He wants to do well, and he's with a good team. He's sharp, and I have to agree with him on that. That's for sure. I mean, especially the hungry part. I think that's huge. Like, so important to have a hungry player being maximized because, you know, there are those players that have all the talent, but and I talk about this in the past, I'm not going to bring up Eden Hazard, but have all the talent in the world, but won't push to that next level. Win, 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 kill, 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 kill. He also says, I like Grealish because it doesn't matter how good or bad he's playing. He always wants the ball, and he has a go at them, his teammates as well. Foden, I think the last couple of games I've seen him, he's been outstanding. And as I was saying, Foden is excellent and definitely in contention there. Is he better than Palmer? I think people are sort of leaning Palmer now, especially since he just won that award, being the best player in England, the best English player, right? He's been unbelievable. You've got them two, and then you've got Palmer up front, and then Saka seems to be doing really well. So they've got some great kids coming through. It's good to see Lee Carsley as manager. I played against him. It's unbelievable. Here's me doing venues, and Lee Carsley is the England manager. Well, not anymore, right? Good luck to him. It's incredible. Carsley is an interim charge for 3 international breaks and has not made it clear whether or not he wants the full-time job, but obviously we all know he did not get it. Asked if he thinks Carsley is the right man for the England job, Gaza said, well, I think it's just who can pick the right team, because he's got all the players there. Gareth Southgate, at the end of his stint as England manager, he was experimenting, and that was not really a good thing to do. England play against crap teams like Montenegro and whoever and win 7-0, and all of a sudden they come up against Italy, Spain, or Portugal, and it's like, wow, a different level. When I played for Glasgow Rangers, we qualified for the Champions League because we played crap teams. 1 minute you're playing like Kilmarnock, and next you're up against Ajax, and we're getting battered because we're not used to playing against quality players. I think you give Carsley a chance and see how he gets on, but he seems to be doing well at the moment as long as he doesn't lose the papers because they're putting him under pressure. I'd rather have an English manager because we've had so many foreign managers, and I don't think it's good for our game. We've got enough foreigners as it is in the Premiership. That is some shit, isn't it? I'd give him a chance. He seems to be loving it, and he's a nice guy as well. Okay, then he goes on. We'll skip this. He's asked about his favorite English teammate. I mean, the point is clearly Paul Gascoigne wants an Englishman to be in the manager position. And, well, tough luck right now, isn't it, Paul Gascoigne? Because that's not what happened. But anyway, so that's kind of another reason. I mean, this isn't just Gascoigne commenting on it. I don't know if this is the sort of thing that seems to come up every time an English manager is appointed. For the most part, they hire English nationals. Damn it, Daily Mail is always popping up sound on me, right? But people seem to have this opinion. People seem to continue to have this opinion. I'm not saying it's bad. That's why I asked the poll question. I wonder, for the U.S. men's national team, I mean, I support the English national team too. They're kind of like my second national team to support, really, especially in Europe, because I love the Premiership so much and I respect the English game so much. But for the English men's national team, I'm stoked that Pochettino has the job. But of course, it's a little different in the U.S. because we just don't have that really rich history of great football culture. And so it's maybe more important that we have maybe somebody else from that did grow in a footballing culture. Not that it's not growing here, and not that it's not becoming a thing, but I mean, it's not 100+ years of history, right? Let's be real. So, okay. So on that note, I think let's go over to the Daily Mail. This was what I think, this is a detracting opinion, sort of. This is one of the opinions, I mean, and not related necessarily to his international status or passport, but it's somebody, Ian Herbert, who thinks that perhaps this was maybe the wrong choice. And he says, hiring Thomas Tuchel feels like a panicked lurch in the wrong direction, as England take a blind leap of faith on a man who may be more trouble than he's worth. Not sure. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I think maybe Chelsea fans are not going to feel the same way about this. Obviously, we're a little partial to Thomas Tuchel, and if you care about the English men's national team, I mean, we won the big one with Thomas Tuchel. So, and I think generally Chelsea fans are pretty hype, pretty satisfied with his quality as a manager, Thomas Tuchel. What a guy. I mean, I was definitely upset when he got sacked. But that's very far in the past now. So let's read this article. What can be said without fear of contradiction is that Thomas Tuchel is neither a yes man nor the kind of individual who says what he thinks the world wants to hear. We discovered that during his time at Chelsea when Roman Abramovich had been sanctioned by the British government after his sponsor Vladimir Putin had ordered the invasion of Ukraine, leading some of the club's fans to drown out a Ukraine tribute at Burnley. Yeah, that's not a good look. Tuchel called that out as wrong. Quote, "It is not the moment to give other messages. It's the moment to show respect," he said. He handled that period with class. He sure did. He was good. He was good with the reporters. He was definitely good in the pressers. Opinionated, but politically prudent, you could say. An assessment of his merits would include a knockout football record, which saw him take Paris Saint-Germain to a Champions League final, the only man to do so, and then win the trophy with a modest Chelsea team. And you have to say, yes, modest. Hard to feel anything but a heavy heart, though, at the prospect of Tuchel, a man described by his biographers, Daniel Murin and Tobias Schachter, as the rule breaker because of that wish to kick against orthodoxy and to throw the established plan up in the air. Their book details how Tuchel does not generally conform to the culture of a place. This is true. And I did feel like he did bring also that German flavor. I mean, we talk about Jurgen Klopp and his heavy metal football, right? I think Thomas Tuchel had an element of that with his sort of three at the back, heavy wingback approach. Wingbacks bombing up and down the pitch. I believe was it Victor Moses that he used? Maybe that was before. Actually, that was before. But certainly the wingback approach, and a bit of that German football going down here. Oh, there he is over there. His tenure was brief at Dortmund, where he did not exactly embrace the club, yellow wall and all, and at Mainz, he placed enormous emphasis on putting established professionals through endless passing drills, whatever that means. He left taking with him axioms like, it's not the what, it's the how, and the courage to be simple, nobody mourned. Well, I appreciate that kind of crap, that kind of philosophical crap that's just like, no, we're going to play this game this way because it's the how, not the what. So that might very well be it. Then no more of the England DNA, no more sense that England knows what it wants its national football to look and feel like with St. George's Park, Clairefontaine for this nation as its cradle and cognitive core. I'm just going to say this. What the hell does that mean? The England DNA, England knows what it wants its national football to look like. Did anybody feel good? I support England. Did anybody feel good about that the look of the English game this past Euros? Anybody? Bueller? Did anybody feel good about that? No. So if we're talking English look here, no, I'm sorry. That was crap. Exactly, Gabe. Nobody liked that crap. Nobody thought it was good. Stop BSing here. That was not that. Like, nobody cares about that, really. I mean, maybe people do care about the English DNA and the look of the game, but certainly, England was not getting that under Southgate. They weren't getting a great look. And when you're losing trophies like left and right, match, what was it better if I know Sam Allardyce, I don't even know he really got much time at the helm, but if Sam Allardyce was the manager, or Lee Carsley, it's hard to criticize Carsley at this point. He had a decent couple of games. But anyway, so this damn ad is blocking it, so I have to copy it and I'll read it off of here. No, Gareth Southgate working to make us feel that the team is our team too. No, Gareth Southgate working to make us feel that the team is our team too. That's a weak point in my opinion. Just Tuchel, who managed Chelsea for 589 days and who generally rose with his bosses a lot, coming here to explain to us all about what courage looks like. Don't worry, Thomas will know best. That's kind of weak sauce. Shut the hell up, Ian Herbert, honestly. Okay, the FA seem, but we have to have a detracting opinion. Okay, Gabe C. It's 2024. Way too much competition in the world. It isn't about the same handful of teams anymore. Yes, true. And it isn't. There's a lot of competition. And I imagine that, me as an English fan, I know I'm not English, whatever. But I imagine England fans want to frickin' win, okay? We want to win. You want to win, okay? And we want to win in style, too. Actually, on the national level, it's almost like nobody... I shouldn't say I don't see why anybody... But I feel like there's less of a care for how it looks when you win. It's just about winning at a national level, right? Come on. Bring that trophy home. But anyway, it does have something to do with it. But okay. The FA seemed to have courage in their plan 8 years ago when Southgate was tested out as manager and helped them appreciate what they did not have to hire the next expensive, out-of-work international boss off the rank. They stumbled into it. Of course, had Sam Allardyce not been caught by an elementary British newspaper sting, Southgate might never have stepped up, but he provided a vision of English football and Englishness that we actually wanted to see, a football infused with young English players, a culture in which humility, curiosity, decency, and likability counted so much. I don't know how to respond to that. Something very significant, Southgate said at the outset, provided a hint, looking back now, of what he would bring. We were in Dortmund, where Germany had beaten England 1-0 in his first match as permanent manager. The question of parochialism and triumphalism cropped up in the press conference in relation to the English fans' lunatic fringe singing about the RAF from England shooting German bombers down. That's a great moment, sure. And look, I just also want to make it clear, I love Englishness. I probably would still identify as an Anglophile to a certain degree. You know, I love Englishness. I do appreciate English culture, but I don't know that I'm terribly concerned about the nationality of the manager. I'm kind of hype about Tuchel for the English national team because I want you guys to win a trophy. And Tuchel plays great football. Okay, it's great. Fun, it's exciting, it's electric, and I feel like he's more direct than you might see out of somebody else, and that plays into England's best characteristics. But we move on. We're an island, Southgate said. We've got to get off the island and learn from elsewhere. Look in the mirror and change the way we do things tactically with our physical preparation, our style of play, and our mentality. Germany could teach us something about that. Does that not forebode something like Tuchel coming in? Here was an Englishman, schooled in the years of the national team's near misses and disappointments, expressing a wish to take the best he could from others and build with some of it. He didn't know everything, but he would do his best. The notion of a panicked lurch in a new direction, the next English manager, diametrically different to the last, Glenn Hoddle, succeeded by Kevin Keegan, Fabio Capello by Roy Hodgson by Allardyce, vanished into the mists of time. Until last night, when news of Tuchel's imminent appointment felt like a return to the unpredictability of all our yesteryears. Sudden stab in the dark, an appointment which would present deep uncertainty in many ways for England, the team's image and what it represents. There will be rows, controversy, noise, everything the FA had left far behind. Don't you like a little bit of that excitement? I feel like it adds to the zest and the fervor. I like that in my club teams, that's for sure. I like it when we have a manager with character that's going to, start some shit on the sidelines. That your Antonio Contes, your Jose Mourinho's, your Thomas Tuchel's, right? I love it. It gets the players fired up, as every manager worth his salt has ever said. Football is about emotions. You got to have emotions, and I know the English are supposed to be somewhat devoid of emotions and reserved, stoic, if you will, but it's not going to hurt you to have a little bit of hot sauce in the mix. It's not as if they lacked time to decide on a successor. Southgate needed some persuasion to continue after the last World Cup, and it was a near certainty that this summer's Euros was the end of his road. The active pursuit of who was next should have started last winter, and since Southgate had created something so sustaining, continuity had to be the prime objective. I get that. You want stability in your national team because it's usually a long haul, especially because of that. It is not about an English manager at all costs. Pep Guardiola, for instance, would have been an irresistible proposition, a name so stellar that his appointment would drown out all the angst and concerns about the need to recruit an Englishman to preserve what makes international football different. Though, that's not to be. There are others. Given Steve Cooper 6 years at the FA in various coaching capacities, winning the Under-17 World Cup in 2017 with a young England team that included Phil Foden, Mark Gahey, Conor Gallagher, and Jadon Sancho, his availability last December presented a 6-month window to pursue him before Leicester City moved. Okay. Graham Potter, another coach, on a superb trajectory at Brighton before the Chelsea madhouse devoured him, has the intelligence to build on the structure and principles Southgate put in place. That's true. Lee Carsley has not looked like an individual with the stature, communication skills, or tactical prowess to manage England these past 10 days, though he is an improvement on a lurch back to the old days of boom and bust. Better an investment in all that has been built than a blind leap aboard the managerial gravy train for the best club boss who happens to be free, the man who is expected to take up the position this week, and who will tell us exactly how it's going to be. Again, I don't see Tuchel as a blind lurch at the next best available club manager. I don't think this guy really values the quality. He doesn't really rate Thomas Tuchel. Maybe it's because I'm a Chelsea fan, but I rate Tommy Tuchel highly. Okay, and let's see the comments here. Check a few of them. Get past all this clickbait crap here. Thomas has won from Yellow Belly 2 in the UK. Thomas has won major trophies and managed top players. Southgate took the knee and managed Middlesbrough. I know which one I'd rather have as England manager. And then Scotty FC responds. He's from York, says relegated Middlesbrough. Case in point. Newcastle, United Kingdom, ellipses, another one that thinks bizarre take. Reactions from the male writers just shows what an impossible job managing the English football team is. Southgate was regularly criticized because he had the team playing cautious footy. Yeah, I'm not even going to read the rest of it. I think we know how that's going. More comments. Hard disagree from another UK resident. Another from U.S. Tuchel will play the best players in their positions. No more pandering. Again, good. Somebody from Ireland. Tommy Tuchel. Now watch how England improves. I think everybody basically says this is a hot take, whether you're from England. Most of these guys from England. So, yeah, I think Ian is not... people are not agreeing with Ian Herbert here. Ian, how is it a panic choice to pick someone who is a winner? Yes, exactly. He's a winner. That's a Norwegian guy, but most of these UK guys also feel like Tuchel is a great choice, not a panic choice. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let's check out, before moving on to the next article, let's check on, which is, sort of contrary to Ian Herbert, there were some reactions, some famous people reactions. Let's go with Marina Granovskaya. Marina Granovskaya. Y'all know her as that Chelsea legend even. She's a legend to me. You just felt like she knew what the hell was up. She was one of Roman's right-hand womans, and she nailed it. She says, Thomas Tuchel, Thomas knows trophies. Congratulations, Titi. And England World Cup 2026 just got more exciting. Sorry, it's very small on my screen. It's bigger on your screen there. But yeah, so I think Marina knows what's up. Good girl. What a pleasure. Okay. The next one is Piers Morgan. This was kind of funny because he says, anyone watching the press conference with Thomas Tuchel who still thinks we should have gone English with our new manager is living in cloud Little Englander, cuckoo land. So incredibly impressive, so perfectly qualified. He's a brilliant choice. Hard agree. And then, of course, Rio Ferdinand he responds retweet, and I just had to respond to him like, not sure you know how the platform works, bro. Yeah, obviously he does. I mean, he probably knows what a retweet is. You don't comment retweet, but I thought it was funny. So whatever. Rio Ferdinand's obviously. And here's Rio Ferdinand saying, my guy, Tommy Tuchel, the new England manager, love it. Apparently he feels the same way, but some were not, or maybe publicly they said they were happy, but some were of the opinion that you need to go English for the English manager. And one of those guys, famously, Jamie Carragher, he obviously had to walk it back just a little bit for political reasons. Says, just to clarify, I didn't vote for Brexit. Because Sky Sports comments on this. This is so silly, honestly, but Sky Sports quotes him as saying, it just doesn't feel right to me that we have a foreign coach. Jamie Carragher believes England should have an English manager. And then he quote tweets that, just to clarify, I didn't vote for Brexit, okay? I'm not one of those guys, one of those xenophobes, right? I didn't vote for Brexit. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of, not to get political on the show, I didn't have to vote for or against Brexit. I don't care. I have no stake in it. But clearly, Jamie Carragher felt the need to say he did not vote for Brexit, even though, and then he says, my view is international football is your best versus their best. And then he says, good luck, Thomas. So he's not really walking it back. He's just saying, oh, well, I mean, and there's a video. You can go ahead and watch him, but I'm sure it sort of conveys what Sky Sports was saying, which is, it's a respectable position. You don't have to say, I didn't vote for Brexit, you numbwad. But I get it. He needs to sort of make sure nobody thinks he's a xenophobe. Gabe C., why are you retracting your votes? I see messages retracted. Anyway, can retract? I didn't even know you could retract out of the chat. Well, they're on my stream forever, and I have video of it. So, bro, you can't get out of it. Okay, so that is just a few of the celeb reactions to the appointment that I found on X. There's lots more. Y'all can go check it out. We could go check it out too, but we're going to move on here. We're going to move on to the ESPN article by Gab Marcotti, who I think is a great sports writer, great football writer, and he comes from ESPN FC in this. Well, he doesn't come from ESPN FC, but he wrote for ESPN FC this time. And in this context, we will check out what he had to say. Here we go. Yep. He says, why Thomas Tuchel took the England manager's job. For the third time, after Sven-Goran Eriksson and Fabio Capello, England's Football Association has turned to a foreign coach, appointing Thomas Tuchel as manager of the national team. More sort of commentary on that narrative. That's not as much of a big deal in England these days since Eriksson was given the job in 2000, but it's a big enough deal among the game's other heavyweights that Brazil, Argentina, Germany, France, or Italy have never looked abroad. Never. So Brazil, Argentina, Germany, France, or Italy have never had a foreign manager. I didn't even know that, honestly. When you think about it, you can't think of one that wasn't, but Deschamps been at France forever. I remember Joachim Low at Germany, Argentina. Was it Bielsa at one point? I don't even remember, honestly, right now. But anyway, or is it now Bielsa? I don't even know who the manager at Argentina is. But no, I think Bielsa is Uruguayan. Anyway, moving on. No, he's Argentinian. Yeah, what am I talking about? Anyway, moving on. Then again, none of these countries have a league as outward-looking, as diverse, and as globalized as England, so that part makes sense. Nor are they facing a long-standing dearth of talent among homegrown coaches like England is, where Newcastle's Eddie Howe is the only Englishman to have managed a top 10 league finish in recent years. That, too, makes sense. Yeah, well, you could also mention Graham Potter. I think that is a good one. Yeah, he didn't get a top 10 finish, but I think certainly a great English manager. Gabe C., they haven't looked elsewhere because they still have talented coaches. Ooh, burn, bro. Major burn from Gabe C. Yeah, I mean, that's what you get when... I guess that might be true. Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, Eddie Howe, to be fair, Graham Potter, although I wasn't a huge fan of Graham Potter at Chelsea. But most of all, the choice of Tuchel, like Capello and Eriksen before him, is born out of a desire to win and to do so straight away. He is seen as a shortcut to success, a guy to execute rather than build. There are no certainties, only percentages. As his last club, Bayern Munich, found out, they actually lost the trophy they were supposed to automatically win, and Leverkusen, sorry, not Leverkusen, what's the team? Xabi Alonso's team. Leverkusen, yeah. Leverkusen, was it? He was Leverkusen, eh? Why am I forgetting this? They won the league. Yeah, they won the league when obviously Munich should have been winning as usual. But and I think maybe Tuchel even presided over the PSG when they didn't win the league in the French league, which is also insane. If that's true, I might be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, he is still a winner. And Tuchel, at least among those coaches who are available, has shown he can move the needle and give you the best possible chance of winning while your window of opportunity is still open. It's not that this is an aging team. Other than Harry Kane, most of the key players are on the right side of 30. It's just that they have reached 2 finals, a semifinal and a quarterfinal in the past 4 major tournaments, and the time is right to take that final step towards silverware because before a nation convinces themselves they are cursed for eternity, the only higher achievement that could factor into that would come out that would be an achievement. The only higher position they could get is actually winning a trophy, right? They've gotten to the final, at least in the last Euro Cup, and before that in the World Cup, I think it was semifinal. Yeah. So the fact that he was given an 18-month deal and not the monster long-term contracts replete with references to philosophy and mentality we've seen in the past is further evidence of this. It all fits how Tuchel is seen now, an instant fix, deliver results type of guy. It's sort of ironic when you consider what he was before. There's a 2012 TED Talk type video titled Rule Breaker of a much younger looking Tuchel, who at that point had taken little minds to consecutive top 10 Bundesliga finishes, standing in a black t-shirt and discussing his approach to coaching and team building. At times he skews towards being a junior mad professor, like when he says that by changing his formation and personnel every game in order to mirror whoever minds are playing, he makes the task simpler for his players. Or when, because he doesn't want his players to play down the wing but hit diagonal balls instead, he redesigns the training pitch, turning it into a diamond and cutting off the corners. He did a lot of fiddling with pitch shapes in his time at Mainz, from circular ones to rectangular ones, both long and very narrow and short and very wide. Very interesting stuff. Seems sort of revolutionary, almost definitely seems like a different approach than people will be used to, players will be used to. At others, he sounds like a new age motivational speaker. We try to achieve flow, and when we do become unwitting rule breakers, we look each other in the eye and shake hands, and we greet each other and tell ourselves how happy we are to be working together. And then he caps the thing off with that corny but valid Michael Jordan quote about achieving success by failing again and again. Okay. That Tuchel won plaudits for style of play, vision, and creativity more than the results. At Mainz, he overachieved with an under-resourced team. At Borussia Dortmund, he won style points but finished 10 points and 18 points off the top in his 2 seasons while winning the German Cup. Did win the German Cup. This Tuchel emerged at Paris Saint-Germain after a 1-year sabbatical following his sacking as Dortmund boss in 2017 when he fell out with the front office. It wouldn't be the last time either. It's not so much that he won silverware at Paris Saint-Germain, let's face it, most do, and for obvious reasons, but the way he harnessed the club's individual talents and turned them into a unit capable of not just dominating Ligue 1, but also reaching the Champions League final in 2020 before obviously he left. And while he may not admit it, that also meant occasionally adopting a healthy dose of pragmatism and safety-first mentality. It's a It's a rep Tuchel was able to maintain, at least initially, in his next 2 stints. He guided Chelsea to a Champions League crown in the pandemic year, beating Pep Guardiola's Manchester City in the final, and he delivered a title for Bayern in 2022-23 after replacing Julian Nagelsmann in March 23, a decision prompted by the fact that he was seen as more concrete and more of a winner than his predecessor. That's the reputation Tuchel takes with him into the England job, a pragmatic, tactical savant who can squeeze the most out of his players and who turned the idealism of his youth into something serviceable and results-oriented. It's not undeserved, but it comes with several caveats, starting with the fact that his final season at Bayern saw them finish third, 18 points from the top, their worst showing in more than 3 decades. So maybe things do sour after 2 seasons. Maybe that's why he does have an 18-month contract. You know, you can't say for sure. They did sour at Chelsea, apparently, I guess, so there's that. The other warning sign lies in the fact that he was fired early in each of his last 4 gigs, each time falling out with the club over personnel issues. And, you know, when you're at England, it's not like you can buy players. Maybe that's the right position for him in a national team. Each case is different, and you can find mitigating factors for each one, from the madness of Todd Bowley's first few months in charge at Chelsea, to the toxic environment at Bayern, to the egos at PSG, to the weight of the Jurgen Klopp legacy at Borussia Dortmund. But the facts don't change. For the past decade, every time he has left a club, he has done so early, under a cloud, and looking like a spent bundle of nerves. I didn't feel that way at Chelsea, though. I did not. But okay, moving on. Who can forget the famous alpha male handshake incident with Antonio Conte? It's more fun when sent to music. Yeah, I didn't see it, but I guess he links to it. Is that a YouTube? Yeah, I guess it is. Okay. I guess it is more fun when it's set to music. Come to think of it, there are more than few parallels with Conte tactical brilliance and early results, followed by clashes with the folks upstairs and loopy behavior. But maybe there's another, and perhaps it's the most significant. And to be fair, maybe that's part of why he wins, because he's got that zest. Well, we talked about this earlier. He's got that spice. He's got that zest. He wants to win. He's passionate. He's emotional, and he's going to inspire people. Okay, and maybe that clashes with some people too. Something to be said there. Something to be said. And maybe it's good in a national team setup because there's a lot of time away from your players as well. I don't know. In 2014, fresh off his dismissal from Juventus, Conte made the step into international management, taking on one of the least gifted Italy sides in recent memory. He could have held out for a top club job, but he chose to challenge himself, putting his reputation on the line, knowing that failure could mean getting bumped off the elite job carousel. Tuchel is doing the same with England. He could have waited for a top club vacancy, Manchester United being the obvious, but by no means only opening in the next 8 months. Instead, he's opting for England, knowing full well that radical change awaits. True, he won't have sporting directors acquiring players he doesn't want and not signing those he does want, but equally, that's what we just talked about, equally, the only way he can outperform his predecessor is by actually winning major silverware. Something the England team has achieved just once in more than 150 years of history. Not to mention the fact that until the World Cup rolls in around 2026, he's only got to work with his players, as a typo here, with his players for a few days at a time, which is a massive departure from a club job, especially for such a tactically oriented manager. In other words, he's betting on himself and he has skin in the game, because another flop or early departure will mean to the back of the elite manager queue. That part is encouraging, almost as much as the tactical savvy and experience he will bring to the job. After seeing Tuchel, the rule breaker idealist, and Tuchel, the big club pragmatist, maybe we'll get to see an entirely new Tuchel. Gab Marcotti's a great writer. We gotta say, he's a great writer. And yeah, I agree. I kind of agree with basically everything that's said there. Okay, moving on. Let's just get on here. Okay, so this was an interesting story. Goddamn. Pochettino. Okay, so this is a story I missed. Go back to the Daily Mail. Nottingham Forest insist it's a coincidence. They're looking for a new social media manager just days after being hit with a £750,000 fine following stunning online attack on VAR official. Nottingham Forest fresh. Oh, before we go on, you know what I forgot to tell you guys? Why not subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you're here already. You might as well come back. You might as well get with the program, get with the Reading Between the Headlines program, and make sure that you know where to find me in the future. Get in on the live streams. Yes, that was a pretty pathetic marketing pitch, but I wanted to make it quick, so that wasn't exactly timely. But yeah, we'll go with that. Okay. Nottingham Forest, fresh from a £750,000 fine for an astonishing online attack on a VAR official, are advertising for a social media manager. The Premier League side were given the hefty punishment after singling out Stuart Atwell in an extraordinary post following a 2-0 defeat to Everton. On their official X account, they claimed the VAR referee was a fan of Luton Town, who were also battling relegation at the time after no fewer than 3 penalty decisions went against them during their April fixture with the Toffees. The Football Association, infuriated by what they branded an attack on the integrity of a match official on an unparalleled scale, hit Forest with a fine the club have since branded wholly disproportionate and against which they have said they will appeal. In a searing ruling issued earlier this month, Forest were also warned by a panel over their conduct with the Independent Commission, finding a clear evidence of a lack of genuine remorse, and that Atwell was the clear victim of the ill-chosen and irresponsible post. Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. The tweet is still up. Let's just check out that tweet real quick. This tweet is crazy. Okay. 3 extremely poor decisions. 3 penalties not given, which we simply cannot accept. We warned the PGMOL that the professional, what does it stand for again? The professional game match officials something. That the VAR is a Luton fan before the game, but they didn't change him. Our patience has been tested multiple times. Nottingham Forest FC will now consider its options. It is insane. It's still up. These guys, we've seen managers get hit with fines for less in the past. In the aftermath of what was, at the time, a potentially damaging loss, they had posted 3 extremely poor... Yeah, we saw that. They even wrote it in here. Forest are now seeking a senior social media manager who will be responsible for the overall delivery of highly engaging on-trend content and oversee 3 members of the staff. Yeah, okay. They're saying it has nothing to do with the post, but I think we all know that it probably has something to do. When you pay £750,000 to the FA, that's probably at least one social media manager's salary. They might want to go with the social media manager, instead of having to pay that again. Okay, moving on. So let's go over to, let's check out this Enzo Maresca interview right here. That was a good one. Throw that up here. Yes. Engage.
Enzo Maresca, thank you very much for taking the time to sit down with me. I've literally just flown in from Malaysia. It's a long way, and it's an honor to be alongside you today. Let's go back to the early days. You had a slightly unusual career path. You came and played for West Brom, your first professional club, as an Italian here in England, when at the time there weren't many foreigners, let alone Italians.
Yeah, as you said, about 25, 26 years ago, I was long age, so you can imagine how many years ago. And yeah, I was very young. I was 17, 18, and it was a very good experience.
I also have to ask about the Superman shirt, and for those who are unaware, who are watching right now, you lifted up your shirt. Underneath was a Superman shirt with a logo. I need to know, are you a Superman fan?
No, that shows how young I was. That was just a joke with a friend. but nothing serious.
Moving on, in terms of your career, you moved back to Italy this time and you joined Juventus, and you had some outstanding players around you, some who go into management themselves. Antonio Conte, he was your captain, Chelsea manager previously as well. Zinedine Zidane, he did a three-peat famously in the Champions League. And Carlo Ancelotti, Chelsea manager, former Chelsea manager, as your manager at the time. What did you learn from all of them?
Was a big influence. As I said, I have been quite lucky because I work under Carlo Ancelotti, Marcello Lippi, Manuel Pellegrini, so many very good, manager. And as you said, that squad with Antonio Conte, Zidane, Del Piero, Inzaghi was full of champions as a player, but also as a human being, very professional. So it was a very good experience.
What about an area specifically for Carlo Ancelotti, overseeing so many stars at Juventus, similar to what you're doing here at Chelsea, overseeing so many stars? Did you learn anything about that form of management from him?
The way he managed the situation, that is fantastic. The way his relation with players, it's top. You can, Carlo is top in different area, and you can learn many things from Carlo.
Can we also talk a bit about chess and football and how it relates to you and your personal philosophy when it comes to management? For those who are unaware, it's part of your thesis, but can you expand on it a little bit more?
I see different things compared to football from the chess, especially the way a chess player has to think about the movements, and there are things that I think the manager needs to think in the same way. So, and I did, when I did the UEFA Pro, I did the thesis about chess and football, compare both. And as I said, for me there are things that you can compare. For sure, they are completely two different things, But in terms of thoughts, I think there are many things in common.
Talking about your philosophy, do you want to explain it a little bit more on how it applies on the pitch? What do you always try to get your players to do?
We try to analyze the opposite, the other team, and try to find where we can attack and how we need to defend. So it's a different plan for every game. And as I said, depends a little bit what they do, and we try to make our plan.
What about when you came to Chelsea? How was the idea pitched to you? Because when I think of Italians in the Premier League, I think of Chelsea more than anything else. I've worked with quite a few, like Gianfranco Zola, one of the greatest players the Premier League's ever seen, one of Chelsea's greatest ever players. Surely that made it an instant appeal to you more than any other club, of course.
Oh yeah, for sure. In the past, Chelsea had so many Italian managers. As you said, Gianfranco, also Gianluca Vialli,
Di Matteo.
Yeah, Di Matteo, Ranieri, Ancelotti, Sarri, so many Italian managers. But first of all, it's because it's Chelsea and it's one of the best clubs in the world. So there was no doubt to join Chelsea.
And when it came to arriving here at Chelsea, how did you handle the transfers and so forth, the squad size in the summer? Was it a difficult task? Was that your most difficult task here?
No, it was not difficult because I said many times we work just with 25, 26 players. The rest, they were training at different time, different pitch, and so it was not difficult to manage that kind of situation.
What about yourself as a player? So for some fans, the younger fans, they might not know what you were on the pitch, but if you were to compare yourself to any Chelsea player, are you like anybody here? If you can't think of anybody, it can be any player in the world.
No, all the players, I always said that all the players, they are different. I was more like a box-to-box midfielder, and I like to score some goals, also to defend. So yeah, as in England we say box-to-box midfielder, but I think Chelsea players, they are much better than me.
So you don't think you would get into if you were in your prime, you would not get into the Chelsea side as a player?
I don't the so.
You could be a squad player.
Yeah, okay. One of the squad players.
Very good. I like that. Yeah. What about building up relationships on the pitch? It's across the field, but the defensive partnership, Colwill and Fofana, it's really coming along. Are you really happy with what you're seeing so far?
Absolutely. With all of them, I said many times, we are ahead of my expectation about the players, about the team, the way they are progressing. So I'm very happy about that.
And what about the personal achievement? And I know football is a team sport, but you got the manager of the month and your player, Cole Palmer, the player of the month. Must be nice to get recognition of some form. All the hard work that you're putting in here.
Yeah, it's nice, but you receive that because of the players, because you win games, but you cannot win games without player. So we are very happy because that means that we did a good month in September, but it's just the beginning, and hopefully we can continue doing the same way.
But you must also be happy for Cole Palmer, because since he's joined the club, he's been one, if not the best player in the Premier League, some can argue.
Yeah, absolutely, and he is winning so many awards, personal awards, and hopefully we can we can achieve something as a team altogether.
You think he's got many more levels to get to?
Yeah, for sure. All the players, they can do better, they can improve, and Cole for sure is one of them, even if it's already high level.
Big match this weekend as well. I'll be there, pitch side. Are you looking forward to it? It's
Wish I was
a
gonna
trip
be
to
there,
one of the
pitch
most
side.
famous venues in world football, let alone in England.
Absolutely. As you said, it's nice environment. Anfield is fantastic, but we're going to try to go there, play our football, and try to get points.
You don't let others dictate how you play how you want to play.
We try always. Sometimes, as I said many times, we plan the game, but also the other team plan the game. So sometimes you struggle a little bit more, sometimes not. But at the end, it's important the intention of the team that has to be the same.
I like it. I like it. That was fun. I like that he was humble. Nah, I wouldn't get into that Chelsea side. Okay, so the next thing on the docket, so we go over to We Ain't Got No History. This was fun. Portugal manager Roberto Martinez praises Chelsea's Renato Veiga following debut. Now, he hasn't been a regular starter for Chelsea, but he is getting a look in on the Portuguese national team. Renato Veiga continues to live his best footballing life in 2024 after getting plucked out of relative obscurity in the Swiss league this summer by Chelsea. The 21-year-old has already established himself as a regular part of the rotation, has become a bit of a cult hero thanks to his exuberance and enthusiasm, and as of this weekend, he's now made his senior international debut for Portugal as well. Chelsea head coach Enzo Maresca recently praised Veiga for his versatility and physicality. We know that he's been playing in various parts of the pitch, including the left back position. And both of those qualities were on full display for the national team as well. Portugal manager Roberto Martinez surprised everyone by not only giving Veiga the start, but starting him as a center back, partnering Manchester City's Ruben Diaz against Poland and their legendary striker Robert Lewandowski. But the youngster handled the assignment beautifully, earning rave reviews from the coach afterwards. Roberto Martinez says, "I'm very pleased because he didn't play like a young player. He showed incredible maturity. He had a good connection with Ruben Diaz and Nuno Mendes, and it was demanding to play against Poland and against Lewandowski. He was a focused and aggressive central defender. He won all the duels. He's very strong in the air, and maybe that's why he put him in there against Lewandowski. I really enjoyed his debut, and the difficulty was superlative." I don't know if that's a good use of the word superlative. "I'm happy, but not surprised. We saw his potential during the training camp in September. Now we see that he's ready." I mean, far be it from me to criticize a guy whose second language is English, if that. The level of Renato's debut shows his potential and presents a different profile to what we had. We're talking about a game against one of the best penalty area players in modern football, Lewandowski. I think his debut is even more important, and it showed that he's part of the team. Roberto Martinez, interestingly enough, he may have had a lot of great talk about Renato Veiga, but it doesn't seem that he actually followed his own opinion, in that he played the game against Poland, but then he was dropped against Scotland. And maybe that has to do with Che Adams instead of Lewandowski, and he wanted the height and the competence in the air but he was dropped for Silva, and he didn't come on, I don't think. Let's see. No, did not even come on. Was he on the bench even? Yeah, so he was on the bench. But for all the rave reviews that Roberto Martinez had about Veiga, he did not actually play him in the next match. So, is it just a bunch of fluff? I'm not sure. This was interesting. After that, I noticed Joey Barton. I don't know if y'all remember Joey Barton. Good old Joey Barton. Why don't I just pull him up? All right, let's go here. Joey Barton. This is Joey Barton. If you don't know who he is, he used to play for like QPR and a bunch of other crap. Not the greatest player, but certainly one of the biggest mouths in football. But Joey Barton had a thing to say about Roberto Martinez, which I thought was kind of hilarious. Is there a bigger fraud in the football management game than Roberto Martinez? And then the little Portuguese flag for your appreciation. I can't say that we've never, maybe people have thought about it because the guy doesn't seem to win anything on the international level, but he keeps getting really good jobs, right? He's the Belgian national team manager. He was the, obviously now he's the Portuguese national team manager. Who else did he get? Let's go to, throw that on here. So, yeah, Portugal, Belgium, Everton, and then it was Wigan. I remember when he was at Wigan. Yeah, but he was at Belgium for 6 years with some of the greatest players in the world and very much did not do much for them. So, maybe Joey Barton's right. Oh, I didn't even take that down. Yeah. Maybe Joey Barton's right. Oops. That was an interesting one. Yeah, I thought that was funny. The guy's always willing to open his big yap. And there he took down Roberto Martinez, maybe appropriately so. And then, as I was saying about the Chelsea Chronicle, head over there. You know what? Let's even check out the full headline. National media think Enzo Maresca has absolutely saved £12 million Chelsea player's career. And, well, given the fact that he is playing some minutes and starting for the Portuguese national team, maybe they're right. But let's see what they had to say there. Enzo Maresca has got off to a good start to life at Stamford Bridge, with him just being named the manager of the month for September. The Italian has impressed so far with his ability to manage the relatively large squad at his disposal, with the mood seeming very high at this stage. Of the new signings, only Jadon Sancho has so far nailed down a starting role on a regular basis from the new signings. However, there will likely be more on show when they return to action against Liverpool after the international break. One of those who may start is Renato Veiga, who could replace the suspended Marc Cucurella at left back. So Marc Cucurella is suspended. I believe it's because he has 5 yellow cards. Media say Enzo Maresca saved Renato Veiga's career. The Portuguese star has recently impressed on his international debut, and Spanish media have actually described him as the new idol for both club and country. Ojogo share, quote, a gem that was hidden in the Swiss league after leaving Sporting almost through the back door. Enzo Maresca and Roberto Martinez didn't let him get away. He's the new idol of Portugal and Chelsea. The €14 million paid to Basel is beginning to look cheap. Veiga passed the exam with flying colors. His good touch, very close to perfection in passing, and powerful shot make him very complete for his age and with a privileged physique. Okay. Well, that's certainly saying something. And yeah, we'll probably see him in his next match. And yes, he actually has looked pretty good for us, even going forward, you have to say. I feel like when he played for us against, what was the last game? Yeah, against Nottingham Forest, even though we didn't win that game, he did look good off the bench, didn't he? Or was it, was it that game or was it against Brighton? I seem to remember him like bombing forward and actually dribbling past people at some point. That's how good my memory is. But yeah, so we've seen some good stuff from him, and I'm looking forward. Let's see what he has to. I mean, maybe the media is right, and maybe he deserves to get a little more attention. Let's head on over to Instagram real quick. Why not? right before we shut the show down, let's check in with our guys. Pedro Neto. Oh boy, look at Messi's looking kind of fat in this picture, isn't he? Look at that face. Look at that face. Woof. Enzo. Not the most flattering picture of him, but they did have a good showing. The Argentinian national team. What was the end score there? I think Messi scored a hat trick, right? Is that the... Yeah, it was against Bolivia. Messi with the hat trick. 9.9 on FOTMob. I don't think I've ever seen a 9.9 on FOTMob, but I guess if you have a hat trick and 2 assists, you know what? Let's see. What did Cole Palmer have in that hat trick game? What did Cole Palmer have in his hat trick showing against Britain? Was it a 9.9? It was a 9.9. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough, FOTMob. Okay. Let's go back over to Instagram. Let's check out what... Oh, we could see the rest of these. Enzo just posting a bunch of pics from that night out against Bolivia. You know, what better opportunity to feel good about yourself than playing against a far inferior national team? Here we go. Pedro Neto. That's cute. Okay, Marina Granovskaya. Mensaje de Marina Granovskaya a Tuchel. Club Argentina. Whoops. Thiago Silva posting, congratulating. Very happy for you, mister, and I wish you all the success in this new challenge. The Silva family is always with you. I love you, mister. What is that? Oh, that was his wife. That was his wife. And then he posts, I love you, mister. Okay, that's cute. Amari Kellerman. Okay, bro. Nobody needs to see this. Mudrick. I almost thought that was a tattoo parlor. But a restaurant. Okay. Rui Faria. Mastering man-to-man high pressure is to master the restriction of an opponent's time and space to build from the back. It is a very aggressive approach, demanding high levels of concentration and discipline toward your team's match strategy to restrain opposition. Its effectiveness depends on the successful outcome of man-to-man duels that can momentarily suspend the structural organization of the team block. When ineffective, the transition from individual chasing to a collective structural zonal organization is often the most sensitive step. Okay, thank you, Rui. Philip Jorgensen. Who's he playing for? Oh, the Danish national team. Did he play? Did he play? So Denmark played. Denmark recently played Switzerland. Was it Jorgensen? Did he start? Did he start a goal? No. Schmeichel. Did he get in? Wasn't even on the bench. Oh, maybe he's playing for the under 21s or something. Did he? Oh, okay. Yeah, he's playing for the under 21s. Okay, bro. Okay. Good, good. Good to see it. Okay, cute picture. Tosin collecting, Tosin has a freaking Instagram about collecting Marvel cards and other stuff, I guess. The hardest choices require the strongest will. Thanos. Okay. All right. I wonder how many followers he has on that one. Tosin collects 5,416 followers. This is hilarious. Screw it. I'll follow you, Tosin. on Tosin Collects. How many does he have on his regular? I don't even know. 335,000. All right. Interesting. This is Wesley Fofana's page. Yep. Whatever. Annoys me a little bit if I'm honest, but whatever. PGMOL. Kukureya. Looking good, bro. Except for those pants. Enzo. Yeah, these are just the pics from that. This thing. Messi, 10 out of 10 on there. Juan Mata Garcia. JC. Showing that money. Jody Morris. Renato Veiga. Caicedos. I guess 50 appearances. He had 50 caps for Ecuador. Or, yeah, Ecuador, right? Drogba.
The attackers know. Attackers are lazy. In their heart, they're lazy.
That's a disgrace.
The attackers know, yeah, that when we play together, what do you think they're always doing in the game? They're looking behind to see where we are for protection. So without us, they don't win, they don't score, they're not headline.
J'aurais voulu ne jamais écrire ce.
I don't speak French, so we're going to skip that. Ian Matson over at Aston Villa. It's at Aston Villa, right? Yeah, I think at Aston Villa. David Luiz. And Chelsea ladies. All right, guys. You know what? I think that's about all we need to do for today. We've been on for about an hour and a half. Had some conversation in the chat. That's always fun. And we even spent time on the gram doing that thing. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody. Oh, before we go, anybody that's in here that may be new to the channel, or maybe you've just been lurking for a while, maybe like, subscribe to the channel to be able to find me in the future, and hit the notification bell if you want to be able to get down on the live streams. I've been doing it a lot on this channel lately. Maybe recently I've been a little slacking in my lives. I got to do more of them. If the more subscribers I get, the more incentive I have to go ham on the lives. But it's been growing slowly, always growing, and got to be happy with that. But again, thank you guys, anybody who showed up, anybody who's watching it after the fact. And if you are watching after the fact, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, come check me out live. I have this set up. You may not have done this stream before, but I have it set up to sacrifice some quality on the stream, some resolution on the stream, just so I can respond as quickly as possible to the chat, to your chats, and so I can make this channel as interactive as possible, because that is what I'm all about on these live streams. Peruse the news, that's what we're about. And we also do some shorts, also do some pre-recorded material, but right now the lives are where it's at. So do yourself a favor, if you're watching this after the fact, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell perhaps to see when we go live. And until next time, guys, live football and prosper. Thanks again. Peace. Soccer? But it's really called football. Soccer? The creators called it football. Soccer? You know, you play it with your feet. Reading between the headlines. Soccer? But it's really called football.